Your entire life, you have been judged by a standard that is not real. You were told that intelligence was a number, an IQ score, a grade on a paper, a diploma on a wall. You were told it meant how many facts you could memorize or how fast you could solve a math problem. That story was convenient, and it was false. True intelligence has nothing to do with school. It has nothing to do with being smart by polite social standards. True intelligence is leverage. It is survival. It is the capacity to shape reality before reality shapes you. Machiavelli understood this. The great strategists throughout history understood it too. While most people were focused on appearing intelligent, a small few were focused on gaining power. There is a hierarchy, a hidden ladder of cognitive development, that determines who consumes and who is consumed, who commands and who submits. Most people, perhaps 90% of the population, never move beyond the first rung. They live in a haze. They believe they are choosing freely, but in truth, they are following a script written by someone else. Then there are those who climb. There are 7 levels of intelligence, 7 stages of awareness. Today, we are going to remove the illusions. We are going to hold a mirror up to your mind. This will be uncomfortable. It may even hurt, because you are about to see exactly where you stand. Once you see the hierarchy, you cannot forget it. The people around you will look different. You will notice the strings guiding their movements. You will see the emptiness behind their eyes. The only real question is this: are you willing to see your rank? Look around you. Truly observe. Walk through a busy city street at rush hour. Watch the faces on the subway. Stand in line at the grocery store. What do you notice? You see the sleepers. This is level 1, and it is the most crowded level by far. The sleeper is not necessarily unintelligent. They may have a high IQ. They may be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. They might quote Shakespeare or write code in Python. But in practice, they are asleep. Intelligence at this stage is purely reactive. The sleeper does not act, he is acted upon. His life is a chain of biological and social reflexes. The alarm goes off, he wakes. The boss gives orders, he follows. The news anchor speaks, he accepts it. The advertisement appears, he buys. He believes his opinions belong to him. But question him closely, ask why he believes what he believes, and he collapses. He repeats a headline he saw online. He echoes a belief passed down by his parents. He is a container for other people's thoughts. Machiavelli described men like this as those so simple and so bound by immediate needs that anyone who wishes to deceive them will always succeed. The sleeper is defined by a lack of agency. He lives with an external sense of control. Everything that happens to him is someone else's fault. The economy, the government, his partner, his luck. He sees himself as a victim of circumstance, floating down a river he refuses to steer. Psychologically, the sleeper fears autonomy. Freedom is not a reward to him, it is a weight. Give him complete freedom, and he panics. He wants a master. He wants structure. He wants clear instructions about what is right, what is wrong, and what to do next. This is why the sleeper is obsessed with consensus. He needs to know what the majority believes before he feels safe believing it. He checks comments before forming opinions. He follows trends before choosing what to wear. His greatest fear is not being incorrect. His greatest fear is standing alone. You know these people. You work with them. You may be related to them. They are the background characters in history's story. They fill space. They create noise. But they leave no trace. They are batteries. They power systems built by higher levels of intelligence. They consume. They produce. Then they are replaced. If you are at level 1, you likely are not watching this. The algorithm rarely shows content like this to sleepers. But if you are a sleeper and you are only now beginning to wake up, understand this. The discomfort you feel, that persistent sense that your life is not fully yours, is not depression. It is reality breaking through the numbness. When a sleeper wakes, he does not become wise overnight. He becomes loud. He moves into level 2, the mimic. The mimic has discovered that the world is a game. He understands that intelligence functions as a currency. It buys respect, status, and validation. But he does not yet have an independent mind, so he borrows others. The mimic is the midwit. He is the person at a dinner table using complex words he barely understands. He is the online activist who adopts the newest cause, not out of conviction, but to signal moral standing. He reads summaries, not books. He quotes thinkers without ever confronting the abyss himself. At level 2, intelligence is a performance. It is an outfit worn for approval. The mimic is obsessed with the appearance of intellect. He gathers degrees, certificates, and titles like trophies. He needs recognition. He needs applause. This level is the most dangerous for the ego. At level 2, you feel superior to the sleepers. You look down on them and think, I'm awake now. But you are not awake. You are simply dreaming in a different way. The mimic is trapped in the Dunning-Kruger effect. He knows enough to feel confident, but not enough to recognize his own limits. Machiavelli warned about this type. He spoke of those who confuse the image of virtue with virtue itself. The mimic believes that looking like a leader makes him one, that sounding like a philosopher makes him wise. But test him. Challenge a mimic. Ask him to solve a problem he has never seen before. Ask him to build something from nothing. He panics because he cannot create. He can only imitate. He is an echo, a mirror of others. The tragedy of the mimic is his dependence on outside approval. His entire sense of worth rests on acceptance from the intellectual group he wants to belong to. He lives in constant fear of being revealed as inauthentic. This fear hardens him. It makes him defensive and hostile when challenged. If you feel an urge to always prove you are correct, if you memorize talking points just to win arguments instead of searching for what is true, then you are still at level 2. You are repeating sounds, not forming thoughts. Bright, noisy, capable of speech, yet unable to think independently. This is where the darker path begins. When you stop performing for approval and begin observing reality as it truly is, you rise to level 3, the calculator. This is the fox. The calculator has abandoned the need for praise. He no longer cares about being seen as intelligent. He cares about results. This is the first stage of real agency. The calculator examines the world, its laws, morals, traditions, and agreements, and understands that none of them are absolute truths. They are constructed rules, and constructed rules can be adjusted. Machiavelli wrote, "The lion cannot defend himself from traps, and the fox cannot protect himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." The calculator is the fox. He sees traps clearly. He understands incentives. He studies his employer, his partner, his institutions, and asks simple questions. What do they want? What do they fear? How can this be used? Level 3 intelligence is transactional. It is detached. It is strategic. The calculator is efficient. He rises through organizations not by working the hardest, but by moving the smartest. He knows who deserves attention and who does not. He understands when to speak and when silence is more valuable. But the calculator often stands alone. When every interaction is reduced to an exchange, the human element disappears. People become pieces on a board. This grants power, but it also creates suspicion. The calculator assumes everyone else is calculating too. He projects his own mindset onto the world. He trusts no one. This is the hidden trap of level 3. You become confined by your own tactics. You spend so much time playing the game that you forget how to exist outside it. You are effective, but empty. Many CEOs, politicians, and professional climbers never move past this stage. They have wealth. They have recognition. But they lack peace. They live in constant alertness, scanning for danger and advantage. They may be the sharpest mind in the room, yet they are still reacting to the room. They remain inside a system designed by others. They are winning, but they are not free. To move higher, you must stop acting only in self-interest. You must become something larger. The fox is clever, but it hides. Level 4 is the operator, the lion. The operator goes beyond calculation. He introduces a new force, will. The calculator tries to move safely through the world. The operator reshapes the world through presence, competence, and force of character. This is the realm of command. The operator does not merely observe the board. He moves it with certainty. Conflict does not deter him, it energizes him. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both." The operator understands this reality. He makes decisions others avoid. He carries responsibilities that sleepers, mimics, and calculators are too afraid to accept. At this stage, intelligence becomes productive. You are no longer just exploiting opportunities, you are generating them through execution. People follow the operator not because he subtly manipulates them like the fox, but because he brings structure to chaos. He is a reference point. He has a direction and the discipline to pursue it, pulling others along if necessary. But the lion has a weakness: visibility. The operator stands at the front. He claims credit, but he also absorbs blame. He becomes a target because his authority depends on presence and force. His power is tied to his energy. If he falters, the structure weakens. If he shows vulnerability, challengers emerge. The operator is tired. He bears constant pressure. He believes he is the ruler, but in truth, he is the most compensated worker. He is bound by his own drive. He believes power comes from action, control, and visibility. He has not yet grasped the final principle of power: the most dangerous forces are unseen. Now we move into deeper territory, levels not taught openly, levels moral voices warn against. Level 5 is the puppeteer. If the fox is clever and the lion is strong, the puppeteer is unseen. The puppeteer understands that direct control, the method of level 4, is inefficient. It creates resistance. Push people and they resist. Command them and they resent it. But guide their desires so they choose what you want, and control becomes complete. This is soft power. This is influence. The puppeteer does not stand on the stage. He stands behind it. He speaks quietly to the lion. He understands human psychology at its core. He knows people are driven primarily by desire and fear. He does not fight reality. He persuades it. The puppeteer builds narratives. He designs conditions where outcomes feel natural, even inevitable, while everyone believes they acted freely. He masters plausible deniability. If something fails, his name is absent. If it succeeds, he benefits quietly. He works through others. Sleepers, mimics, calculators, even operators become his instruments. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you truly are." The puppeteer lives by this principle. He shifts shape. He becomes whatever is required. He has no fixed identity. To the sleeper, he is harmless. To the operator, he is supportive. To the calculator, he is reliable. To each, he appears aligned. None realize they are being directed. But level 5 has a cost: dissociation. When you wear masks long enough, you forget who you are beneath them. When every interaction becomes psychological strategy, genuine connection disappears. The puppeteer gains immense power, but at the expense of self. Yes, but he is a ghost. He moves through the world, yet he does not belong to it. He is cold, colder even than the fox. He views humanity with the distance of a scientist studying bacteria in a petri dish. He can predict human behavior. He can influence it. But he cannot truly participate in it. This is the isolated summit of manipulation. Most dark psychologists stop here. They assume this is the highest point. They believe that being the unseen hand is the ultimate form of power. They are mistaken. The puppeteer is still playing the game. He is still shifting pieces. He is still responding to the board. The true master does not play the game. The true master builds the casino. This is the level of the Godhead. The architect does not manipulate individuals. He designs environments. He understands that human behavior is shaped by surroundings. If you want people to move in a certain direction, you do not ask them, and you do not deceive them. You construct a hallway. The architect builds that hallway. He creates systems, ideologies, corporations, algorithms, religions, nations. He defines the rules of the game that sleepers, mimics, foxes, lions, and puppeteers all compete within. While the fox steals a grape, the lion fights for the entire bunch, and the puppeteer convinces someone to hand them over, The architect owns the vineyard. This is systemic intelligence. It is the ability to think in second dash, third dash, and fourth order effects. The architect plans in decades and centuries, not quarterly reports. He is detached from individual outcomes because the conflict itself has been structured in his favor. Consider the creators of social media platforms. They are architects. They do not care what people argue about or which side wins. They built the arena. They profit from attention, noise, and division. The architect is not good or evil. He is unavoidable. He looks at chaos and finds structure. He sees the code beneath the surface and rewrites it. To reach level 6, you must release the desire for personal recognition. You must let go of controlling individuals. You must become devoted to structure itself. You must study civilization, economics, psychology, history, physics, and merge them into a single framework. The architect is rare. Perhaps 1 in 10 million reaches this level. These are the names that endure, not the rulers who fought wars, but those who designed the systems that made those wars inevitable. Yet even the architect is not the final stage. He remains attached to his creation. He still cares whether the system succeeds. His ego, though abstracted, still exists. If the system fails, he feels the loss. There is one level beyond this, almost inhuman. The final stage of intelligence is not about accumulation. It is about removal. It is the void. At level 7, you stop being the player. You stop being the designer. You become the silence. This is total inner sovereignty. The void has mastered the ultimate Machiavellian quality, complete emotional and psychological detachment from the external world. He owns nothing, yet lacks nothing. He feels no fear because he has no attachments. You cannot threaten someone who does not fear death. You cannot bribe someone who desires nothing. You cannot manipulate someone without an ego to appeal to. The void observes the architect's systems, the puppeteer's plans, the lion's conflicts, and the fox's tactics, and he smiles. He sees it all as theater. This is not nihilism. Nihilism is collapse. This is transcendence. The void acts with perfect clarity because desire does not cloud his perception. He does only what is required, no more, no less. He's like water. Try to grasp him and he slips away. Try to cut him and he reforms. Try to burn him and he becomes vapor, only to return later as rain. Machiavelli hinted at this state. He spoke of fortuna, chance, fate, the disorder of the universe. He said half of life is governed by fortune, the other half by will. The void aligns his will with fortune. He does not resist the current. He becomes it. In Eastern philosophy, this is the Tao. In Stoicism, it is the sage. In dark psychology, it is the ultimate predator. If you encounter someone at level 7, you have no leverage. You cannot read him. You cannot predict him. He reflects whatever you project. He is a mirror. When you look into him, you see only yourself. He can descend to level 4 to command, then return to the void. He can adopt the fox's role in negotiation, then withdraw again. He uses the lower levels as tools but does not reside in them. He lives within his own mind, a fortress without entrances. This is true freedom, freedom from the need to be someone. And paradoxically, this is where the greatest power exists, because the person who needs nothing controls everything. Now the mirror stands in front of you. Where are you? Be honest. The lie you tell yourself will cost you more than any other. Are you a sleeper, drifting and reacting, waiting for permission? Are you a mimic, chasing approval, collecting quotes, pretending to understand? Are you a calculator, stuck in exchange and suspicion, effective but isolated? Are you an operator, exhausted, visible, carrying constant pressure? Are you a puppeteer, hidden, losing yourself behind masks? Are you an architect, building systems and chasing legacy? Or are you approaching the void? Most of you move between level 2 and level 3. You recognize the game exists, yet still seek validation. Or you are trapped in transaction and strategy. That is acceptable. Awareness begins the climb. But understand this, the system is built to hold you in place. School trains sleepers. Universities produce mimics. Corporate ladders maintain calculators. Architects are not encouraged, and the void is feared. To rise, you must resist your biological and social conditioning. You must destroy the need to be liked. You must abandon the desire for safety. Intelligence is not about kindness or correctness. It is about effectiveness. It is about seeing the underlying code. Advancement does not come from adding information. It comes from removing illusion. To move from sleeper to mimic, you must recognize the value of knowledge. To move from mimic to calculator, you must stop seeking approval and focus on results. To move from calculator to operator, you must accept responsibility and act with courage. To move from operator to puppeteer, you must learn psychology and restraint. To move from puppeteer to architect, you must master systems and patience. To move from architect to the void, you must release everything. It is a long path. It is a difficult one. Most people turn back. The herd is comfortable. The center is warm. The summit is cold. But the perspective is different. From above, the stress, the conflict, the noise, the politics, all of it reveals itself as a game you no longer need to play. You can simply observe. And in that observation lies the only power that matters: mastery over self. There is, however, a specific barrier between level 3 and level 4. It is the hardest transition. Machiavelli called it virtue, not moral virtue, but adaptive, relentless capability. Most people stop at level 3. They become clever foxes, successful, cautious, and fearful of wolves. They never become the lion. They never build empires. But because they still believe in the rules. They believe intelligence will protect them. It will not. Breaking through requires a deep rupture in moral conditioning. You must be willing to do what society labels unacceptable. I cannot fully explain this here. The platform would not allow it. The information is too direct for public space. If this has shifted your perspective, understand that this is only what can be shared openly. There are aspects of dark psychology that cannot be discussed publicly without consequence. The most powerful material is restricted. If you are still here, you are not like most. Subscribe if you have not. And if you want what is not shown openly, step beyond the surface. Access to deeper material exists elsewhere. Most will not take that step. That is intentional.